Good afternoon, everyone. And to the organisers, thank you for having me here into the beautiful city of Bilbao. And what an incredible venue as well. I feel like, before I start talking, that I need to do something fun with the audience. So just a show of hands, who has a smartphone with them today? Oh, it's everyone. Okay, everybody, take out your smartphone. And we're going to dim the lights here. I'd like you to switch on the light, the torch on your smartphone. There we go. Let's have everybody's lights on and have a light show. A few more lights. Keep going, keep going, keep going. Keep going, keep going. This is great. I'm going to take a picture of this. Come on, look at this. Beautiful. Bilbao, we love you. Look at that, superstars. This is a rock concert. Let's go. Okay. Thank you, guys. You can turn the lights back on now. How about that? I'm going off now. I'm finished. I'm Matthew Drinkwater. I'm head of the Fashion Innovation Agency at London College of Fashion. And I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about our work and how we're helping to make a difference in the fashion industry today. I am supported at the London College of Fashion by an incredible ecosystem that is allowing us to explore technology. So we have research centres, fashion technology accelerators, European-funded projects which are allowing us to bring designers, manufacturers, technology innovators together to begin to experiment with where we can take the industry. And where we find the industry today is in a state of crisis. Burberry's decision earlier this year to sell what they were showing on the runway directly after the show had finished has sent the industry into meltdown. I have never known a time of more concern, of more worry, of more confusion about the direction of the fashion industry. And these quotes that you see behind me are symptomatic of where brands and designers are feeling at the moment. So the effect of technology and the results that See Now, Buy Now has brought to the industry are causing problems because of this kind of mentality. This is a headline from the Business of Fashion from earlier this year, and this was a big news story. Big news story in the fashion industry today is luxury designer opens an e-commerce platform. Wow. So the influence of technology externally, and particularly in the case of See Now, Buy Now, has forced the fashion industry to do something it didn't want to do. E-commerce is a natural next step. Is the fashion industry just discovering retail? Has it just discovered that it needs to sell stuff? Some of the earlier speakers mentioned Chanel. Last season, Chanel's backdrop for their show was a data center. And I'm not kidding when this was reported as being big fashion tech news. Backdrop is a data center and models are dressed as robots. Fashion tech. So there is a long way to go for the fashion industry. And I always use this quote when I talk to designers and brands about what technology can do for it. The industry is obsessed with new. We always talk about new season, what's coming, what's next. And yet, anyone who works within the industry knows for sure that actually we've seen everything before. All of the patterns have been cut before. Nothing is really new. But what technology can do is create something completely new every single season. The pace of change within the fashion industry is not as fast as some people would like to believe that it is. And look, these are the areas where we've been asked to have a look at over the past 12 months. And I think the challenges that are facing fashion brands and emerging designers are: where do they get expertise in this, and how do they get access to that kind of technology? Every single one of these technologies listed will impact the fashion industry in one way or another. So fashion at some point is going to have to interact with this. And it's our role at London College of Fashion to begin to point designers and brands through that maze. Because the pace of change is fast, and in a world which is defined by rapid change, where do brands even begin to think about how to build something for the future? So specifically, my role at the college is to help designers change the way that they make their collections. So we look at smart materials and smart processes like 3D printing and 3D modeling, and help them use that technology to create something in a totally new way. We're also helping designers and brands use technology to change the way that they show those collections. And in particular, the use of virtual and augmented realities are what are exciting the most about the way that we can showcase in a different way. And then ultimately, we can use that technology to change the way that designers are selling their collections. And as you can see from my previous slides, just having an e-commerce platform would be innovation for some designers. So the opportunity for growth in that sector is enormous. I'll run really briefly through some of the projects that we've done and try and demonstrate how we effectively try to exchange knowledge through every project. This is one that we did nearly 4 years ago, based around 3D printing, and we worked with a designer called Gareth Pugh and a brand called Absolute. Gareth designed that collar, we 3D printed it at the college, and then sold it in Selfridges and Harvey Nichols. And for Gareth, it was an opportunity to explore 3D printing, which he's integrated into his collection subsequently. The very famous Nokia skirt. Remember this image, because I will show you something later that will really scare you. I get a lot of criticism now for this project, but nearly 3.5 years ago, we developed this for Nokia, and I'd sketched a dress in the office, and we had a vision of creating something with flexible screens. And when we came to actually laser cut the devices, we were hoping to use the screens from the devices, they just smashed. So eventually what we ended up doing was literally just bolting the devices to that 3D printed structure. And then Nokia built an app to connect the print for the season that the designers had created, so they were rotating around the skirt. We sent it down the catwalk at London Fashion Week, and it created quite a lot of hysteria. It's certainly not wearable technology. 25 kilograms. Wow. Just after we completed that project, Microsoft bought Nokia. So I take full credit for that acquisition. And Microsoft asked us to use their technologies to begin to see where technology and fashion could intersect. And we started very simply with inductive chargers, wireless chargers, and we built them into a pair of trousers so that when you put your phone into your trousers, they charge. Partnered with Amazon and sold them. We then took Microsoft's technology to explore what the future of a catwalk show might be. And when we started this project, there was some discussion in the industry about live streaming and whether live streaming would kill a catwalk show. And we didn't believe that, so we set out to showcase how technology could enhance a catwalk show. So we live streamed from the devices in the audience and then projected them onto that 3-meter inverted pyramid that you see behind me, and then used real-time CGI to kind of rip the models apart. It looked really cool. We're also interested at the college in fostering much more collaboration between the technology startup hub that exists in central London and pushing it much closer together with the traditional fashion designers that we have in the city, with the hope that we could end up with new product or new business model. And this is one company that I'd met who developed a flexible battery, and we put them together with some menswear designers, and they created a belt that charges your mobile phone. There is a lightning cable which goes from your belt into your pocket and gives you about a day and a half's charge to any device. We also work with the W Hotel. And this one is interesting because of the potential exploration for IoT in fashion. The uniforms glow to the beat of the music in the bar. Wow. But they also have some haptic feedback in them, so front of house can notify the bar staff when a very important person is arriving. And we explored the use of that technology to see whether or not people could actually order drinks from an app. The W has an app which also allows you to use your smartwatch to open your hotel room door. And are beginning to explore what concierge services might do and what garments of the future will allow us to do. Very briefly, this is one project that we worked on with Lucasfilm and the Walt Disney Company for the launch of Star Wars. We partnered with a robotics company in Bristol in the UK who specialize in 3D printed prosthetics. And we're really excited at the possibilities that prosthetics and body enhancement can do for the fashion industry in the future and what that future fashion might look. So the model that you see was born without her arm, and she is wearing myoelectric sensors on her shoulder. So when she flexes her shoulder muscles, she has individual finger control over that arm. It's quite extraordinary technology. And so we've turned her disability into desirability. By far and away, our most seen project is the Tinkerbell dress. 200 million impressions on social media for that dress. And why was it so popular? I think it was going back to basics for us. It was the idea that we could use technology to evoke emotion. All of our explorations in technology indicate that device and functionality have no part to play in the industry. Emotion is everything. That's the dress going down the catwalk. This last Fashion Week, we explored augmented reality or mixed reality, where we scanned a designer's collection, turned it into a 3D volumetric mesh, and then put it into Microsoft's HoloLens so that you could see a full life-size hologram in the room with you. It was pretty cool. Here's a little video which shows that in action. It was a process that we did with just... Okay, I'll let it go.
So I think the fashion industry really needs more innovation, and I think for me, I saw that in this technology.
We're utilizing Microsoft HoloLens. What this device allows you is it scans the real room and then creates the virtual spatial information. So I can literally drop these 3D contents in different sizes into the specific location of the room.
It's three-dimensional, you walk around it, and it can be a much more complete experience, and it's more complex as well, because it's not just two, maybe three angles, this is all the way around, so it's much more of a real experience. The experience is so much more complete.
So mixed reality, that was done using 4 high-definition cameras, so actually quite low resolution, and you could see in the imagery there are still a few issues with the clarity. But that use of mixed reality is going to have massive implications for the industry in the future. We took that one step further and thought we could try with virtual try-on. Could we have designers creating product that wasn't real? So we worked with a luxury scarf designer called Emma Shipley. And the scarf that you can see on Emma just behind me here is not real. So almost like a Snapchat filter, you can try on her scarf collection and buy. You can also build that into the total retail buying cycle. So it becomes part for a designer of maybe even testing before they buy and testing before they make something. I'll skip through the next one. We haven't got time for that, so I'll skip through to the next one. So technology is in fashion, but does that make it fashionable? 1 in 3 people think that wearable technology makes you look ridiculous. And 3/4 of, I don't know why British people think this, but 3/4 of British consumers cannot see how wearables will make their lives easier. So it's 2 problems there, form and function. What's causing that? Wow. That is, when people say wearable technology, that is the image they have in their heads. Who remembers my silly smart skirt? Look at that. I think what we're talking about here is not taking technology. You cannot take technology and simply place it onto the catwalk. That doesn't work. What we need to foster is co-creation and collaboration with technology to create something truly unique. This is from Dolce & Gabbana's catwalk show. Model goes down the catwalk, takes a selfie. Fashion tech. Wow. And I guess one of the issues that's holding us back is that idea of the Zuckerberg effect. And this isn't real, but can you imagine if it was real? Look at that. Look at that collection. It's the idea that most of us don't wear the same thing every day. So how to integrate technology and how to give it something different when you wear it. Avery Dennison has already been mentioned, but their partnership with Everything is really interesting to us because it looks at clothing as a platform, as a service. And actually, it doesn't matter what technology you use to connect your clothes to the internet, whether it's NFC, RFID, any other sensor technology. Once you have a platform, you can begin to run services off it. And that is something which is really interesting. So what's next? Well, I can give you some pointers on what we're working on and where the industry, I think, over the next 12 months or so, will begin to do some things. Conductive yarns have been in the news because of Google's partnership with Levi's. And hopefully that connected jacket will reach market this year. But again, looking at garments as a platform to deliver services. So it's certainly beginning to look at moving in that direction. Stretchable and printed electronics. We are excited at the prospect of making it easier to integrate electronics into clothing. If you can heat press printed circuit boards into a garment, does it remove all of the difficulties of integrating electronics that have previously existed for designers? We think it does. There have been some interesting use cases, and this is L'Oreal partnering with PCH to deliver a smart tattoo that measures UV exposure. Science. Without wanting to say too much, I think science, bioengineering, fashion, and technology will come together a lot more in the next 12 months. Robotics is going to play an even bigger part in how the fashion industry makes and distributes its garments. This is from Alexander McQueen show, I think in 1999, so almost 20 years ago. It's quite extraordinary to see what a visionary he was. But if you can partner artificial intelligence and robotics, can you teach a computer how to design, and can you teach it how to pattern cut? Virtual reality has been spoken of a lot today, and I think fashion is still figuring out what that use case of VR will be. I think the possibilities go beyond 360-degree video, and much more so as a creation tool. If we can bring together designers, businesses, even customers together within a virtual space, what are the possibilities? What is the new couture that will exist? And then I'll wrap up by talking about computational imagery. Whilst I was working with Pinewood Studios last year, we got the opportunity to have a look at some of the extraordinary scanning techniques that they use for motion picture films. And the idea for us that we can begin to showcase a new way of delivering content to consumers. For me, luxury fashion has a long way to go to integrate technology, but here is Louis Vuitton partnering with Square Enix, primarily for a marketing campaign focused on the Far East. But this is Final Fantasy characters wearing a virtual collection. Where does gaming, where do virtual clothes begin to sit within the ordinary scope of a business model that we see today? I'll leave you with that thought. That's us. Hit us up on Twitter. I'm desperate for more followers. That's it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Matthew. Bueno, pues esa es la mecánica de la jornada. Ahora podéis hacer alguna pregunta a Matthew, que creo que es una oportunidad fantástica, desde luego. Aquí tienes. Ha sido una explicación completa, ¿eh? Mira, voy a ver si tiene alguien. Pues yo quería preguntarte, Matthew, ya que nadie pregunta, ¿cómo reaccionan las marcas clásicas de moda ante esta tecnología nueva, wearable, ¿no? Okay, no problem. What is the feeling of the classic brands, luxury classic brands, about this new technology?
So I think maybe Jonathan from Halition hinted earlier that the pace of change within the fashion industry is quite slow. You can see that some of the giant players in luxury are still waiting to open even an e-commerce store. So the possibility of doing something more adventurous than that is a challenge. And you know, we sit here as a group which is determined to shake up the industry with the belief that this is coming. The fashion industry is going to be revolutionized by technology, whether it wants it or not. Change is coming, and every traditional model that existed before is going to go.
Wow.
What happened to the music industry will happen to fashion, and we can't wait to make it happen.
Fantastic. Bueno, pues aquí lo dejamos. Muchísimas gracias, Matthew. Thank you so much. Have a
Thank
good
you.
day. Thank you.
Thanks. From the business of fashion from earlier this year. And this was a big news story. Big news story in the fashion industry today is luxury designer opens an e-commerce platform. Wow. So the influence of technology externally, and particularly in the case of See Now, Buy Now, has forced the fashion industry to do something it didn't want to do. E-commerce is a natural next step. Is the fashion industry just discovering retail? Has it just discovered that it needs to sell stuff? some of the earlier speakers, College of Fashion, by an incredible ecosystem that is allowing us to explore technology. So we have research centers, fashion technology accelerators, European-funded projects which are allowing us to bring designers, manufacturers, technology innovators together to begin to experiment with where we can take the industry. And where we find the industry today is in a state of crisis. Burberry's decision earlier this year to sell what they were showing on the runway directly after the show had finished has shown a few more lights, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. This is great. I'm going to take a picture of this. Come on, look at this. Beautiful. Bilbao, we love you. Look at that, superstars. This is a rock concert. Let's go. Okay. Thank you, guys. You can turn the lights back on now. How about that? I'm going off now. I'm finished. I'm Matthew Drinkwater. I'm head of the Fashion Innovation Agency at London College of Fashion. And I'm going to talk to you today a little bit about our work and how we're helping to make a difference in the fashion industry today. I am supported at the London College. Good afternoon, everyone. And to the organisers, thank you for having me here into the beautiful city of Bilbao. And what an incredible venue as well. I feel like, before I start talking, that I need to do something fun with the audience. So just a show of hands, who has a smartphone with them today? Oh, it's everyone. Okay, everybody, take out your smartphone. And we're going to dim the lights here. I'd like you to switch on the light, the torch on your smartphone. There we go. Let's have everybody's lights on and have a light send the industry into meltdown. I have never known a time of more concern, of more worry, of more confusion about the direction of the fashion industry. And these quotes that you see behind me are symptomatic of where brands and designers are feeling at the moment. So the effect of technology and the results that See Now, Buy Now has brought to the industry are causing problems because of this kind of mentality. This is a headline